Good evening. I'm Jerry Britton, host of this edition of Cats Clinics. And tonight we have with us Rodney Black, the publisher of the Cats software. And we're going to do two sessions this evening, one on customizing the startup of Cats and the other on customizing tables. So with that, Rodney, I'll turn it over to you and you can take control. Thank you.
Okay, let's see. I need to share my screen. Okay, let's see. So you guys seeing the screen?
You're good.
Okay. Do some of you guys have small screens that you're looking at? Because I can bring up the magnifier. I'm currently using a quad high density, monitor. So some of it might get pretty small if you're using like, a phone or a smaller screen. Let me try the magnifier and we'll see how that goes. So you guys can you can watch what's going on. Okay, let's start up. Okay, so we'll start with this. I think there's a lot of truth in that. And okay, so what I want to do next is just as Jerry said, what I'm going to do is talk about how to things you can do to make your starting up Cats a lot easier. So topic here is automating launching of Cats. And bear with me as I go through the painful way of doing things. So I'm going to show you kind of a worst case scenario and how bad it can get. And then I'll talk about the various things you can do to speed each of these steps up. So with that, let me show you how to, let me turn on the magnifier. Okay. Show you a painful way to start up Cats. What I've got is on it, stupid Windows. Oh, there it is. Okay. Here's how you like I say painful. This is my JMRI program file, and I've got cats.bat, so I could like go to my folder, double click on cats.bat. It's going to ask me profile I want to use. I'll say okay. Come back up here. Cats is coming up. Now let's assume for a minute that I have a JMRI file that I need to load. For example, it's got some special stuff in it, some logics or something like that. So at this point, then I would come down, I'd load my JMR file, and you'd go to File down here. You would load table contents and panes. I put everything in this one folder that I did a shortcut to, and I need this. Okay, and all I did really was load in a table that had a special sensor in it. And there you can see it's called special sensor. It's an internal sensor, and it's $99.99. So I did that. Now I can, there we go. I'm going to close that one down. We don't need it anymore. So I got my JMRI table loaded. The next thing I want to do then is I want to load in my Cats file itself. So we open, you go down here, and again, I'll go to desktop, and I'll go to this folder, and I'm going to load in my magnet board. If you guys have seen some of my other stuff, this is this layout is based on a track plan that John Armstrong had done. Load it up. Okay. So this isn't the whole thing. As you can see, I then need to adjust my window size to bring up the rest of the panel. The next thing I want to do is pre-position some trains. Well, in this file, I don't have any trains. So the next thing I want to do then is I'm going to load in my trains file. I'll load my lineup, go down here, and I want, let's see, I think I want there, that one. And open that up. And that resized my window again. So I'll bring it back up. Now, if we look at, we'll see, I now have some trains in my panel. And I want to position, I'm going to start with one here. So I'll do a position train. And since he's going eastbound, I'll put train number 2 there. And I'm going to put train number, I'll do the local switcher right there. So we're now ready to run. And as you can see that, that was a lot of mousing around, that was kind of tedious and boring and stuff like that. So let's go through this step by step and show you how we can speed some of this up. Okay, I'm going to close this down. And let's go back to here. Okay, so I've got so I went through all these 7 steps. I navigated the JMRI folder, I launched CATS, I imported JMRI table, I loaded the CATS panel, I resized the windows, I loaded trains, and then I positioned my initial trains. Okay, let's do the first thing we want to do. Come on. There we go. Is we're going to use desktop shortcuts. And let me go back up here to our JMRI folder. This is the program folder. And what you can do is do a shortcut, for example, to my BAT file. Right click on it. And this is Windows. And you can do similar things in Linux and Mac OS. It's not the same way in terms of the steps, but I'm sure you can, but you can basically set up a desktop, a shortcut. So you go to Properties in Windows. And nope, sorry, that's not what I wanted. Okay, let me try again. Right click, create shortcut. There we go. And Windows comes back and says, I can't put it in my program directory, my program folder. Do you want it on the desktop? Sure, we'll put it on the desktop. So now it's on the desktop. Now I got to go find it. I think, let me go back to the desktop. And it's usually, where did they put it? There it is, right here. So what I can do now is I go in here and right click on this and I set my properties. The important thing is that you start in that folder where the executable, the batch file or the C shell file exists. So make sure you start there. You need to do that so that JMRI can pick up the various libraries that it needs. Next thing to note is, at least under Windows, and there are other ways, like I say, there are other ways of doing this under Linux. You can do a change icon and you come down here and it says, pick an icon somewhere, you can browse and, we'll put one on it. What's a good one? Let's just put that one on it. And I could browse somewhere else. For example, I could browse, JMRI has some nice icons, but for ease, we'll just do this one. And we will do an apply. And I can close that down. And now I've got my shortcut. Double click on it. And configuration again, standard JMRI stuff. Okay. Now I've got my CATS panel up. Okay, so that's the first thing we can do. The next thing we can do, let me go back to my PowerPoint, which is right there. Next thing we can do is how can we import the JMRI table, the second step? Okay, I'm going to get back up here. I'm going to bring in Designer. And it's going to ask me, here's the, what file do I want to edit? And I'm going to open up, again, desktop, Herding Cats shortcut. We'll edit up the magnet board. And I go to Appearance. And I'm going to do an include file. And the file I want to do is the JMRI panel. Open. So, and now I'm going to save the editing. Okay. Now let's go back to my my shortcut on the desktop. And I want to use that configuration. So here's blank cat screen. And we will open up back to the desktop, the cats file that I want, which is my magnet. And it came up, there it is. But if I look at the JMRI panel, the main JMRI screen, tools, tables, sensors. See, there's my special sensor. So that's how when I loaded the CATS CTC panel, I now automatically loaded the JMRI special stuff that I needed. One word of advice here, and I think Dalen found this out, is that this doesn't always work the way you might want it, in the sense that sometimes I think the JMRI panel stuff loads concurrently at the same time as the CATS layout loads. And if the JMRI layout takes a long time to load, then CATS may get done before it does, and some of the linkages may not get set up right. But in general, that tends to work. Okay, let's go back to our PowerPoint. Okay, so use a designer include to import the JMRI table. Now let's talk about how do I load the CATS panel. And I'm going to kill this off again. I want to load the CATS panel automatically. So I'm going to exit that. And I'm going to minimize this to reduce some of the clutter. Okay, let's go back to the where we've got the program files at. And what you do is you edit the MAT file and you add the name of the file you want to load right here. Well, rather than you guys watch me fumble around here, what I've done is I've already done the editing on this one, herdingcats.bat. You'll see what it looks like. Edit. So just like, so what I did is, here is the location of that file, the CATS layout file that we've been running. So that's the full path to it right there. Okay, let's get rid of that and make things easy. What I'm going to do then is we'll make another shortcut for this guy. Come on, there it is. And yeah, let's put it on the desktop. Then I can close, I'm going to close that window down again. Go to the desktop. Here's the shortcut I just created. Let's double click on it. And I need to accept my profile. And so there's our panel loaded automatically just by double clicking on the shortcut. And again, we've got the tools, the tables, the sensors. There's our special sensor. So that's still in there. So back down to, I'm going to kill this off. Just keep the clutter down. Okay, so get down here, back to my PowerPoint. So we've shown you how to load the CATS panel. I think it's this one. And you, so basically it's adding the path to the CATS CTC file, put it into your launch file, whether it be the .bat or the .csh. Okay, so the next thing we want to do then is automate how to resize the window. And here's how we do that.
Question, Rodney.
Sure.
I didn't want to break in, but I couldn't find the hand raising tool. I don't use Zoom very often. You went kind of fast through the part where you added an argument to the CATS call so that it called up the actual panel. Could you show that just more for a little more time so I could either screen grab it or something?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead and speak up because I don't have the because I magnified the screen. I can't see the chat and the raise hand. So go ahead and interrupt me as you need to.
Well,
okay, let's go back to.
I do know how to do the include file, but what you showed was this. I can't remember what it was called anymore. It was a batch file that actually ordered the. Yeah, I think maybe it was that one. It ordered the dispatcher panel to display.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
Rodney, maybe if you could show both of them side by side.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so here is a pretty much right out of the distribution batch file for Windows, and there's something else in Linux. I think it's at the very end or something like a C shell, but basically this is what actually launches CATS, that line right there. All the other lines are double quote, the double colons say they're comments.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let me go to the one I had edited it, this one. Okay, so let's see if I can figure out a way to.
Well, this is great. I see what you've added. So, yeah, so if you could just leave that on for a second. Oh, well, now you've got them both, so I can't see them both. I was going to try and screen grab it just because my memory isn't as good.
Yeah. So basically at the end, this is the full path to the file, the Armstrong magnet.xml file.
Yeah, you need the C colon all the way, the full path to the end of the file name.
Right. Yep. So
let me scroll it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And again, Steve, this will be posted as a video in the next few days.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's fine. And I can watch the video. I'm not trying to hold everybody else up. So just scroll it back a little. I only am interested in the new one. I understand the standard. I scroll to the left or whatever is the right word. So I start at the very beginning of the line.
Okay.
And so it says launch jamr.exe, and then it just used to say cats.apps.crandic, but then what's following it in quotes is the full path to the file you want to load. I think that's what you're telling me.
That's what I'm telling you.
That's easy for me to understand. I just didn't understand it because it was all scrolling by so fast. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So if you look at, here's the standard distribution right there. Cats apps.crandic. So this line, the front of this line is exactly that. I just added the path. Now, what you can do and it's not particularly recommended, is put your CATS XML file in the same folder as your program is. And if you do that, then I could get rid of everything up to all I would need is Armstrong magnet.xml.
Yeah, I understand that, but I personally, for the probably same reasons as you, I wouldn't want to do it. It's too hard to change what's in the program files. You can't edit it. At least on normal Windows, you have to edit somewhere else and save it. I get it though.
Yeah. And furthermore, the other thing about JMRI is that the recommendation is don't put anything in JMRI. Put the minimum, put as little in there as you can.
Right, because if you upgrade, it could get overwritten.
Yeah, and I hate putting in. I have to put in the GIF file, and I have to put in the jar file. So let's look at what's in there. So I have to put in the Kranich.gif has to be in the same folder as JMRI, and the cats.jar file has to be in the same folder as JMRI. Because I think there's a launch. Here is the program that's getting executed by the batch file. It's launched JMRI.exe. I'm sorry, those have to be in there, but I think trying to make a launcher, a bat or .csh that would work for everybody and put them somewhere else it gets to be kind of complicated. Okay.
Yeah, that satisfied me, Rodney. Thank you. I very much appreciate it.
You're welcome. Let me get rid of that. Okay, let's see. So what we're back to is we want to automatically resize the window when we load it. Okay, so let's fire this guy back up. We're launching cats. Oops, I did the wrong one. Hang on a second. So I got too many launchers going on. Let me try again. I want this one because this is the one that automatically loads the file. There it is. Okay, now go down to your JMRI window down here and go to Help, System Console, right there. Turn it on, and you get a log. Just like that. This is a standard JMRI type stuff. I'm going to go back up to here, and I'm going to resize the window. So I grab the edge of it, I drag it a little bit, and I have a resize. Now go back down to here, to the System Console from JMRI, and notice these lines come out. X equals 0, Y equals 0, gives you a width, gives you a height. So this tells you where on the screen it is currently positioned, and this tells you how wide and how high this window is. So that's what, I think that looks good. Now we go back to, if I can find it right there. This is our designer, which we've been working with. So now go into Appearance, Screen Size, down here. Now I got to find where it put it. There's a pop-up somewhere. Let me try again. Nope. Okay. I don't think this is it. Nope. I got to find it.
Rodney, I think it's behind that. You look on the right edge.
You think it's this one? I
The
tried. It's beeping on me. Okay, I'm going to escape out of here for a minute and see if I can find it. Oh, here it is, way up in the corner. Now let me go back to magnify the screen again. Oops, I don't want that. I want full screen. Where is it? I got to turn it on. There it is. Okay, so the values I want to put in is, I'll leave it in, let it load in the upper left corner. So I want to put in like 1004 and 239. So go up here. 1004 and 239, accept. Come down here. This is the designer panel. We'll save it. Okay, now we'll go back up here and we'll do file. I'm going to drop out of cats. And we will go back over here. And so now we've been, massaging this layout file. And I need to again set my profile. And it automatically loaded with the requested size. So that's how you, so now what we've done is by just launching cats, we have now, let me go down to here. For some reason, this doesn't work. Oh, there we go. Okay, so designer in the appearance, the screen size. So now what we've done is we've automated all these. So now just by double clicking on my desktop, all this stuff happens. Loading trains is going to be a little bit, the way you would do that is we would go back into designer over here, go train, load trains, and we were using this. We'll open it. So now we have in designer, oops, where did that go? Let's try. Probably up in the corner. There it is. There's our, we've got now trains loaded into designer. And I'll save it. Now the thing here, just so that there isn't any confusion, what happened is it didn't capture the load trains. What it did is into my cats file and now put the trains that were in this other file. So it's like an import into it. So if I change that trains file, it's not going to be reflected in here. Okay, so we will go into here again. Let's restart cats. And it wants to know what profile I want to use. And there's our trains. So the
Wow.
next thing, going down here, then the next thing we want to do is, so it's in designer that you automatically load the trains. The next thing we want to do is position the initial trains. So now we can come up here. So what we want to do is position a train here and position one here. Here's how you, I can't put that into the automated steps, but what we can do is this. We're going to file. We'll start recording. Now this is in cats. So start recording. And it says, where do you want to put it? And we'll put it in our normal place. And we'll just call it recording. And you can give it any, it's a text file, so you can give it any, suffix you want. Go back up to here. And we were going to position the eastbound train there. And we're going to position the local peddler here. And he was this guy. Now we're ready to operate. Then what I do is on the Kranich. So the Kranich has staging tracks, and at the beginning of every day, so to speak, we has an AM and a PM session. But at the beginning of every day at the AM session, a lot of those staging tracks already have trains on them. So I just create a file, and then I'll exit out of cats right there. So I can replay this file whenever I want. So let's go back to herding cats. and it comes up. And then I will replay. What I will replay is recording.txt. And it'll ask you if you want to keep the timestamps or not. Typically, if this is a staging type operation, I usually say, no, don't keep the timestamps. And notice, there are our trains. So just another note on recording then, if you are using train tracking, what a recording does, it just records train movements. It doesn't record, clicking on signals or switches or anything like that. It just records train movements. I recommend if you do the trains and have the tracking going on, is that you record your session. So now I can actually record it, start another one. I can start yet another recording, and this will be, let's call it session. Save. Okay, and we'll go back up here. And what I can do then is, we'll show you. We'll do that, and we'll move the train around. Since I don't have any actual real sensors, we'll move it this way. And this gets really tedious after a while. And you can see the trains moving along. We'll send him into there. And one more. Okay, so we'll stop. And let's say we ended there. Now then, let's say we went to, the session ended there, and we're going to pick up again where we left off. We'll start up our CAT session again. There it is. Now at this point, let's replay. And what I will replay is our session. This is the last recording we did. And at this point, I want to keep the timestamps because, this says the timestamps. And notice that this train is here. And for some reason, we lost this one. I don't see. But anyway, so we recorded the train movements. Yeah, okay, the point I want to make here is it serves two purposes. One is if you break your session, for example, over several days, I want to call it a operating day over several sessions, you can pick up where you left off. The other one is if for some reason something crashes, you can replay up to the crash and pick up in fairly good order.
Question, Rodney.
Go ahead.
So two places there, you did a recording and then you quit out of CATS. Obviously that stops the recording.
Correct.
Can you otherwise stop a recording but then not drop out of CATS?
No, I don't think I put that in. I think the only way to stop a recording. Yeah, I don't have a stop recording. It's the only way is to drop out of CATS.
Yeah, I didn't know if the start recording toggled back to stop recording or not. So
No.
Okay.
And yeah, and you can replay multiple things if you want to. I'm pretty sure that'll work. Okay. And with that,
That's some really good stuff.
that has turned out to be very useful. Oops, okay. There we go.
I agree. One little question. The one thing you've had to do every time is choose the config file. Is there a way to automate that? Probably not, or you would have demonstrated it.
That's a really a JMRI question. If you've got only
point.
one profile, then it automatically comes up. There's no selection.
I don't though, so I get it.
So you'll probably be okay. It's I just do so much testing and
No, I'm like you. I've got multiple profiles. I probably didn't say it clearly. So yes, I see now that you're right. That's not part of CATS. That's part of how JMRI loads. So I'll read up on JMRI. Maybe there's a way to stipulate a profile in a batch file or something.
yeah. And now JMRI is able to link the CATS launcher with a profile. But I think the fact you got multiple profiles, I don't think there's any way around it. Or you wait like 8 seconds or set whatever it is the JMRI timer is. And it'll
Yeah,
come
I
up.
was going to say that I only have one profile, and it's going to hang there for a set amount of time, and then it'll eventually proceed.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that sounds good. I was just thinking, in terms of if I had a guest dispatcher or something and I was busy or had to fix a derailment or something and I didn't want to have to go help them, which one of these do I pick? So I was just looking for the easy way out. It's all good though. And I get it since I think it defaults to the last one you used, if I'm not mistaken. And in that case, I can just let it default to the same one, which is what it would do.
That's correct. It does the last one. And yeah, and if you just walk away and come back, it'll use the last one. Which can be good and may also give you kind of a surprise too.
I hear you.
Okay, so here's the rule of thumb that I use. And it goes like this. Put the things that do not change between operating sessions into Designer. That would be like the trains and the screen size and that kind of stuff. And load the things that do change into CATS after launching CATS. And that would be like the replay of the previous session. Or let's say that you've got an AM and a PM and they have a different set of trains. In that case, then I wouldn't load the trains into Designer, but I'd load the AM session trains into CATS after you launch it, and the PM trains into CATS after you launch it. Okay, that's automating things.
Excellent. Any other questions?